This video you're going to see is based upon many years ago when there was many of us protesting, simply saying that citizens should have the right to see the incineration process of weapons and drugs that the police confiscate. The reason we said that then, as well as the reason we say that today, is because it's $1 billion industry and there's no oversight from anybody watching the police with these here weapons and drugs. And we simply believe that if it was oversight, it would help to create a better relationship and a trust between the citizenship and the police as well as the politicians. So what we would like for y'all to do, those of you who are watching this video and listening to this, we need you to be a part of this. Call your representatives, ask them why is it that there's no oversight of something of this here magnitude. And in conclusion, we also say this, because we're building a movement, we're talking about Black Lives Matter. I think that we have to understand how politics is played. If we educate ourselves better, we can make better choices in terms of who represent us. So please pay attention to this here video, join this here movement, and let's make it happen. Thank you.
Bill, I have a question for you. What can people do, or first of all, what should be done? You're talking about, it sounds more like you're talking about the guns that are taken off of the street are actually put back in the street. Or are you saying when guns or drugs taken off the street, people should be able to witness, or they should have some people or group of people to witness the incineration of guns and drugs? Is that pretty much what you're saying?
Exactly. There should be a small group of people that could witness that whole process. Because number one is that it's $1 billion industry. Number two is that why would you just trust the police to do this on their own with no oversight? It just makes no sense. You know, and as I said many times, you know, if we go back in history, even before alcohol was legalized, then the fight between the mafia and the law was because the government was not getting no portion of the proceeds from alcohol.
I gotta cut you. I gotta play the devil's advocate for a minute, Bill. I heard you make a comment. You said it's $1 billion industry.
Yes, sir.
Could you please explain to the viewers what you mean by $1 billion industry? $1 billion for who? Because I know it's not coming into the community. So who are we talking about specifically? Or is that something you'd rather not talk about?
Well, no, that's a good question. It's $1 billion industry in terms of when you just look in terms of how drugs fuel this economy. And I'll give you a classic example. You know, when you go to court on drug charges and you're locking people up, everything is about money. You know, prison is about money. You have to create the opportunities for people to go to prison to fill prisons. And the drugs and the weapons is part of what helps to create that whole concept in terms of filling up prisons. So it's not no accident that prisons is filled the way that they are filled today.
So we're not talking about, are we talking about police corruption in the sense that if they seize 100 pounds of heroin.
They just seized 147 pounds.
So if it's seized, are you saying, because I'm just trying to get an understanding. Right. I want people to understand what it is that you're talking about, because it sounds very serious, and we just went through something with our jail system. Right. And that's not to say that the same thing could be happening in our police department. It's possible. So I'm really trying to get clarity, because I hear you saying it, but you're kind of going past me. Are you saying that that the drugs and the guns that are seized by the police department somehow get back into the street?
Absolutely. That's exactly what I'm saying. And that's the reason I'm saying that even though, you know, it's supposed to go in evidence room, then that's why they hold it for so long. But, you know, very seldom do you go to court and see these drugs come to the courtroom that they're supposed to use for evidence. There's no need to hold that stuff that long.
Okay. Who's responsible for ensuring that the weapons and drugs are insinuated, other than the police department? Because I heard, I don't know, the city council...
It's nobody else responsible but the police department.
Okay.
I mean, the question is that, shouldn't somebody else be responsible? They should. Because, I mean, the police department works for the political system. You know what I mean? Even though they are under the state, then the police commissioner here works directly for the mayor. So you would think that our local politicians from the mayor on down, then they would be in control in terms of what happened to the drugs and weapons. But there's no accountability of that. You just take the police word that it's been done.
Now, I viewed a video that you did some time ago. Was that in reference to the same topic that we're talking about now?
Absolutely. In 1996, when we had the former mayor, Kurt Smoke was on board. He devised, wrote a letter to Lawrence Bell, who was the president of state council at that time, to send a letter to the commissioner, which was Thomas Frazier at that time, the police commissioner, to devise a plan that would be able to put a small group of citizens together that could witness this process. They passed a resolution known as 282. And to be honest, they fooled us really, because I mean, when they passed the resolution, I'm thinking we're getting somewhere. But a resolution is just a suggestion. It don't carry no weight, it didn't have no action. And then the police commissioner, Thomas Frazier, publicly said, and it's probably on the video, publicly said, well, the reason we can't do that is because we think that the public would try to rob the police of the drugs and weapons. Only excuse they ever had.
Okay. So, last question. If people are interested, because so much is going on in our society right now with crime and, you know, the police murdering people, police brutality, and we know that it's not all the police. So I don't want to say that, but basically, if people wanted to take part in something like this or get involved, can they contact you? Are you doing something? Are you putting something in place to do something else? Or no. Because a lot of times when you give people numbers to call with the city, they get the runaround. So there needs to be a contact person or someone who's maybe in the process of putting something in place so that the resolution in terms of how these things are destroyed is put in place properly. Well, so who can they contact?
Well, actually what could happen, people could reach me at 410-433-8123. Either they could see me, Bill Goodin, at Facebook. But the thing is that people don't have to call nobody directly. We simply saying that we need enough people to get involved. Just like we got millions of people on the street about police murders, then we have to have millions of people saying they want certain laws to happen because this is how you implement law and policy. Okay. So I mean, lots of times, you know, we out there, but after we get through protesting, you know, my concern always is this. After you get through protesting, then what? See, if you ain't passing no law, you ain't creating law, then we're still losing because we're making a lot of noise, but we're not passing law. So I'm saying what we want to do is build a movement by people being interested with enough of us saying the same thing that we force the political leadership to do the right thing.
Who's we, Bill?
The people.
Okay, so you're just talking about, but basically now, are you going to kind of spearhead this thing? Because right now, as far as I know, I've not heard anything about what you're talking about recently. So there needs to be someone in place who people can contact if they're interested in taking part. Somebody who's going to a stand-up person, a voice. So who would that be?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. If people choose, people could call me directly or get in contact with me.
So you're that person?
I'm that person.
Okay. That's what we want to know, Bill.
But it's bigger than the individual.
Right.
You know, we're talking about creating a movement to create change to preserve the future generation that's coming after us.
All right. Bill, I want to thank you, and I just want to thank our listeners. I'm Bishop James Jones, and this show is, as a matter of fact, you know, it's one of our TV talk shows, but we're glad to have you on here, and we're going to have you back because, you know, we want to kind of get an update on what's going on. So just want to thank you again, Bill. And that number, once again, if people need to call?
410-433-8123, either Bill Goodin or Facebook.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, God bless.